Outrage continues to trail the farmer herders crisis in the country. Governors in the northern part have agreed that the current system of herding through open grazing is no longer sustainable in view of growing urbanization and population of the country. The governors, under the aegis of the Northern Governors Forum, have therefore resolved to embrace new methods of herding by ranching or other acceptable modern methods. In a communique issued after the forum's emergency virtual meeting and signed by the chairman and governor of Plateau State, Simon LALONG, the forum resolved to aggressively sensitize herdsmen across the northern states on the need to embrace the modern system of rearing their cattle. There's been a huge outcry over recent clashes between herders and farmers, a situation which has led to the loss of lives and property. Well, let's get more on the insight into the latest decision by the northern state governors endorsing ranching for herders in the country. And joining us right now is the chairman of the forum and governor of Plateau State, Mr. Simon LALONG. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10. We are made to believe that all the governors are now against open grazing of cattle, but how does the forum intend to ensure that herders, and these are herders across the country, take to this initiative?
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers. First of all, it's not now that we took that decision of correcting the issue of open grazing. It's not now. You understand that was even the foundation. That was what led to the introduction of the national livestock production. Because when we had a meeting, we said, look, we must introduce a modern kind of grazing, not to allow people to be moving around from one place to the other. And because we look at the advantages and disadvantages, and we saw that the disadvantages of movements were so much. Land is shrinking, no space, people, again, there are no cattle routes and most of these problems. And that was why the northern governors agreed and embraced the issue of ranching, which led to the introduction by the presidency of the National Livestock Production Program, of National Livestock Production Program. Now that we are beginning to see the menace, now we are beginning to realize that a lot of these movements here and there, people are being killed, it will result into cattle rustling and so many of these kind of problems. And that was why when the issue came with this attendant issue of evictions here and there, we saw that it was going to be a very serious national security problem. Because once you start eviction, other people will also start eviction under different reasons. So for us to control it, we said, look, we have to go back to addressing the issue seriously. And that is ensuring that we should find ways of aggressively dealing with this non-movement of people open grazing everywhere. The modern type is better, but there is this lack of funds to the state. There's lack of encouragement to the states, lack of the operation of the operation of even the pilot states in respect to the scheme. That is the National Livestock Scheme. So we were advising the federal government to also give grants to states that are ready with land. We're not saying that it's compulsory for states that are not ready, but many states in the north are ready. We need some grants to start so that these people will not be moving here and there. We need to also keep them in one place. And then it's business. So definitely that is the only way to control the insecurity.
Your Excellency, I must as well ask that, do you foresee this decision bringing any form of challenges? And I'm asking this because we want to know if other stakeholders were carried along. For example, the Mieti Allah Breeders Association, were they carried along before you came to this conclusion?
Well, like I told you, it's not today. It's almost 2 or 3 years they started this national livestock. And when it started, there was need for all the governors to go back and do sensitization. And that was when the governors went back to do conversation with their people, including the cattle breeders. That's the Mieti Allah. In most of the states, they also understood the scheme and agreed to it. I can give you an example, even in Plateau State. We did a lot of sensitization. We did a lot of dialogue. And at the end of the day, we all signed, even with the Mieti cattle breeders, that the best way to go is the ranching. And we gave 74,000 hectares waiting for this exercise to start. Plateau has always been in the scheme, but the lack of funds, we can't start the scheme. I don't know why the scheme cannot start. If we had started, there would be no need to be roaming about here and there. So when you start restricting people, I also emphasize, you must also provide alternative. If you restrict them and there is no alternative, definitely they will be moving against the law. But as you move about, provide the alternative, and then there's total restriction of movements with cows here and there. So to come back to your point, all the Mieti Allah were involved. So these are issues already we were tackling, and then the banditry came. You know, it goes along with banditry. And part of the reasons for banditry, they will tell you is that their cows were rustled. And so farmers, some people will rustle their cows, and then in the process of counter rustling, they end up, when there are no cows, they end up in banditry, they end up in kidnapping. And so these issues are really getting devastating, not only to the north, but to the entire country. So we must find ways of doing that. So they are part of they are carried along in decisions that we are taking.
All right, and hopefully it will see an end to banditry. We appreciate your time on the News at 10 tonight, Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum and Governor of Plateau State. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful.